Hi and welcome to my first tutorial video, how to draw faces. You'll see here I've got a quote from the wonderful Bruce Lee, a masterful man not only of martial arts but his philosophy. And as you can see from this quote, he talks about listening and observing. Since you're watching a video and listening to me, then of course that's important. But more important than that is if you want to learn how to draw anything, you must draw the thing. Don't use your imagination. Don't rely on what you think something looks like. If you want to draw people, faces, then find a person to draw. Get a photograph. Google's great for this kind of stuff. These are some of the faces that I've been sketching in preparation for today. And what I'm going to show you is how I come up with the shapes that make up the face. But when you first start, your faces might look like this one that's on here, and that's okay. Mine look like this, probably worse. Unfortunately, because I used to throw all my drawings out, I can't show you what my faces used to look like when I first started drawing them. I can only show you what they look like now. So really important, when you're practicing, please keep your drawings, because in a week's time or a few weeks' time or a few months, if you look back at them, you will see the tremendous progress you'll have made in the meantime. And you will progress if you practice. There's no shortcut, but what this video and my future videos will help you with is understanding some fundamentals that will support you when you're looking at real people and drawing them. So we're going to draw a face in profile today, and what I've done is I've drawn a line down the front of the circle, I've drawn a line at the bottom and a line in the middle, and then I've tried to find a centre line between those two that I've drawn. So in total we've got 3 lines there, and in between these first 2 is kind of a question mark shape or a backwards C. That's the ear, and at the front of the circle I've drawn a triangle, and that's going to represent our nose. We're going to keep these shapes really simple. I'm not going to add any more detail to them at this point, and the reason we keep them simple is we don't want to get bogged down in the detail. Detail comes later. We're going to use these landmarks and we're going to stick to keeping these shapes as easy as possible to draw, so that you can get better at understanding where they are in relation to each other, because that's the most important thing. So on that top line we've got an eyebrow there, and then just below that is the eye, which is a really simple cone shape, just 2 lines that intersect, and that represents the upper eyelid and lower eyelid, and then we just draw a simple kind of semicircle ellipse shape for the eye from the side. You'll see that I'm drawing the jawline here, and the jaw tends to protrude down from the ear somewhat, right down to the chin, and it's kind of halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin that you will find most people have a mouth. Well, actually everyone has a mouth, but you'll find that that's where people's mouths tend to be. It would be a bit weird if it was elsewhere. So the mouth, the top lip I've shaded in. It's quite a small triangle. Most people tend to have a smaller top lip than a bottom, although this isn't always true. Supermodels and whatnot, people who've had lip fillers, tend to change the shape of lips, but where you're trying to stick with the simple fundamental shapes here. As you can see, when I'm drawing the shape of this person's head, I've gone inside the circle, and that's because nobody's head is a perfect sphere. They're really not. And it's not very easy to see this because a lot of people have hair. But if you know anyone that's bald, next time you see them, have a good look. You might want to ask them permission first, but if it's just someone in the street, then just try and observe them without them seeing. Wouldn't advise that you stare too long at bald men, especially ones that look like they can handle themselves. Anyway, getting back to the drawing here, you've got these simple shapes that I've drawn, and now they've all come together, and suddenly you've got a face on the screen. And if you just try not to think of it as a face for a second, just look at how simple those shapes are that we've drawn. Once you've got to this point, there is no need for you to draw anything more on this face. You can start a new one, put the video back to the beginning, turn the sound off if you don't want to listen to me rambling on again. But we don't need to go any further. However, if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, this little shaded section I've put in is just to kind of show you where the side of the face is before it starts to turn and change to the front. And then this next batch of shapes that I'm putting in, that's kind of a halfway point between being the side of the face and being the front. It all depends on where the light's coming from, but for this exercise I'm just pretending the light is coming from the front of the face. As you can see, by adding this shading, it can just add that little bit of extra detail. Going back to observing your subject, I find one of the best places to observe people is when they're in cafes or when they're at a bus stop or a train station. You find people tend to sit still or stay still in those locations, and when people are still and they're in a little world of their own, that's when they tend to relax. And it's when people are relaxed that you get the best pictures, the best drawings. They don't relax for very long if they spot you drawing them. So be discreet and try not to draw people that are, on the next table or on a bench next to you. If you ask people if you can draw them, you get one of two responses. They will either say no, because you sound a bit weird, or they'll call a member of staff or maybe the police. That's not a pleasant experience for anyone. So just, yes, draw people, but be careful. What we're going to be doing next time is drawing the face from the front, and then what we'll do there is look at some of the symmetry that's required and some of the different shapes that you need to use. Slightly more complicated from the front. That's why we stuck with profile for the first lesson. So I'm about to finish up. I'd just like to thank you for watching, and please give me a thumbs up, comment, tell me what you would like to see next, and if you could, I would really appreciate you subscribing to the channel. There'll be a new video every 2 weeks, and in between those videos there'll be a blog talking about some of the things that I'm working on. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much. Bye bye.